Hi, everyone. My name is Bill McKelvey. I'm a project coordinator with the University of Missouri Extension. I'm with LaShundra Connor, who is with a Mustard Seed Community Development Corporation. LaShundra, we're going to go ahead and get started with this interview. First question, what do you do and where do you fit into the local food system?
What do we do and what do I do and how do we fit into the local food system? Well, with our name, it's pretty upfront, a Mustard Seed Community Development Corporation. We deal with community social issues or problems and try to find ways to provide resourcing or coordination just to be able to provide a more equitable and sustainable way of life. So with one of those things, it's food. It's nutrition. It's what we're able to eat, what we have access to. Those are big things. And with a lot of the communities that we come across, especially in Dixon, which is not unusual for Missouri, in rural areas, is we're dealing a lot with food insecurity. So how can we find a way to bridge these gaps to allow for our residents, our communities to be able to have access to affordable, healthy food of variety. And that's kind of what we do is we kind of come up with solutions. We do a community assessment. We meet with community members and we facilitate with them kind of an action plan or solution on how we're going to do this. And a lot of times we try to tie it into other social problems within the community. So if there's a community if they're having issues with economic stagnation, if there's a way where we can deal with food insecurity and economic stagnation by providing, economic growth and diversifying the economy within that community so that it can be kind of standalone, then those are the things that, we live for and what we want to do with it. So in this instance, we're looking at farmers markets and a small business incubator, so a commercial kitchen, to kind of promote small business growth and to allow for those who want to go into small business in the culinary arts or, restauranting or anything like that, for them to be able to do so at a lower overhead than when they would if they had a larger brick and mortar traditional business. So it allows us to do that, but we can also provide nutritional outreach to our community, especially to our children and our senior members. So that's what we do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And I think that leads into this discussion of like, where do you see the opportunities for growth?
Within food systems, especially with Dixon, the way it's set up, there's so much opportunity. I can see a farmer's market being somewhere for an opportunity for a meeting place. I mean, really, when we think about farmers market, that's how we used to do it back in the day. That's how our ancestors, that's how our great twice removed cousins did that. We went to the market. That's where you got jobs. That's where you found out about the best kind of gossip, or was able to get some good produce. So farmers markets are really encompassing in that, and I can easily see that being an opportunity also to help stimulate the economy. So there's growth there because you're going to have employers. With COVID now, delivery is where it's at. Who's to say we can't go back to having groceries delivered to our homes? And that's, to me, that's, contactless right there. That can help. With our small business incubator, there's things called ghost kitchens, where basically if somebody wanted to rent out space, they wanted to rent out the kitchen for use, they can operate a kitchen, a restaurant, and be able to serve people and not be committed to having to do this day in, day out. If Wednesdays work for them, they can do that. Or if they utilize cottage laws in Missouri and they bake like artisanal bread, they make the best bread ever. It gives them the opportunity to rent out space, increase their productivity, and opens them up to a larger audience of consumers. So there's just a lot here. And it also gives opportunity to keep money in communities longer. So the longer we keep dollars within communities, not only are we helping with food security, but we're helping within the economy. Because now that dollar, that same dollar that bought some carrots at the farmer's market, can now be used going towards renovation and towards infrastructure and things like that. Or, you know, so just keeping that in there longer before it goes outside of the community there's tremendous growth in that, if that answered the question. I'm sorry, I get a little excited.
Oh, that's a great answer. Great answer. Thank you. So the next question we have, what are your needs or challenges? And this could be from the perspective of your organization, or maybe kind of what you see more broadly in Dixon.
So I guess it works twofold, because we're a young organization. We're a young nonprofit, 4 years old. So we're new in the game. So there's a lot of things that we have to do to establish. And one of those things we have to do is we have to establish trust in our community and let people know that, you know, this is a collaboration, it's a facilitation, because that's important, because that's the only way things are going to work. And with Dixon, that's the same. It's the collaboration, the facilitation to get things done. A lot of strengths that Dixon has is they have strong community ties. You know, even if they're not, a lot of times when people think about helping, they think of the larger scheme. But a lot of times what you see in community coming together in Dixon is if they know of a family that they're on some hard times, they're not getting food. It might be another family going over there and I made extra casserole or whatever. Why don't you guys, take part in this? Don't worry about it, because I know you're going to give back to me. I know when you're ready and you're able to, you're going to help me out, and you see that a lot with the churches and stuff. So organization, them doing these things is very feasible, but unfortunately, as a community, and they're not alone. There's a lot of communities that we get are hard knocks. Sometimes there's issues with management. If we don't know what's going on with funding or things like that, things kind of go in disarray. So the only thing I can think of is I would want Dixon to know how capable they are. The potential that I see, they have it, and it's always been there. And it can continue to be there. So that's some of the challenges, but they have so many strengths. Just even if you're looking at location and stuff like that, with the mustard seed, again, because we're young, we need help. We don't make a lot of money. All our board members right now, we're either veterans. Myself and my husband, we just retired. My executive director, she's active duty. She works at Fort Leonard Wood and stuff. So there's things that we pour in a lot of time and resources into this, and it's coming from ourselves. And then we kind of coordinate and help with other people, coordinate with other resources. So it's a combination of just support, spreading awareness, funding, that's great. But, there's a lot of things that can get done where, you don't necessarily need funding. If it's just, offering, that hard work, if you have experience in renovation or like electrical wiring, helping us get that commercial kitchen up so we can bring that to the community. But I see that being something that's very possible in Dixon, because like they come when there's a problem, it's kind of like, even if it's like a family, you may be not too fond of your cousin, Sarah. Oh, Sarah, she gets on my nerves. But if somebody messes with Sarah, no, okay, we're all coming in. We're gonna encircle and encompass Sarah and help and build her up. And I've seen that on so many occasions in Dixon, time and time again. So I just would love to see that happen on a larger and more organized level.
That's great. That's really awesome. We've got another question here for you.
I don't really have a cousin named Sarah though, so.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's cool. So this next question If money or other resources were not an issue, what would you like to see in Dixon, or what would you like to change or do related to food or the food system?
So one thing, I haven't made it up to the Columbia Farmers Market, but I love to do my research. So what I've seen, and I can't wait for the ability to be able to see it in person, is Columbia's Farmers Market has like an agricultural park.
Mhm.
And I would love to see that in Dixon. And, so being able to have a community garden, being able to have education there, being able to have cooking classes, or it's a place where children can go hang out and they can learn things. There's so many different opportunities there that I think that would work well in Dixon. And I would love overall for that to happen. I would love to have a thriving farmers market that becomes more than a market. It can be a reflection of the cultures, not just in Dixon, but in Pulaski County, and the surrounding areas. So there's just a tremendous thing. And I know that can happen. We just have to get there. And being able to have like thriving systems of communication between producers and local shops and grocery stores and stuff, being able to see those things in the grocery stores, or just having that cooperation. That's what I would love to see.
That's great. We've got about 2 minutes left. Anything else you want to share about what you're doing, your hopes and dreams?
That's a lot
Anything
for
else you'd like to add in 2 minutes?
In 2 minutes. Well, one thing I would like to say is, the farmers market, that's something that's becoming a reality. It's going to be a mustard seed community marketplace in Dixon, and that's coming the spring of 2021. What we're looking at, we're not just looking for vendors. We're looking for, if we can get a committee together of informed producers, farmers, wherever you are on that food system, on the food systems, I guess, kind of spectrum, we need that input. So if you're at the school and you're part of the nutrition program or something like that, that input is important. So if we can have that and be able to really come up with a good committee that can come up with informed policy that's beneficial to the vendors and to the consumers, that would be great. Is that good for 2 minutes?
That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that was great. Well, thank you very much, LaShondra. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.